Today, we're going to be working on a favorite casting. Not so favorite insect. Don't go away. Hello everybody and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And I hate grasshoppers. Hate them with a passion. You know what it is? They're unpredictable little jerks. Okay, so you're walking along, minding your own business. Grasshopper, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. They're facing that way. You're going that way. And they will jump sideways into the rear just to screw with you. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. But I don't hate the Hot Wheels Grasshopper, and that's what we're going to work on today. Let's get to work. So the Grasshopper's been on my to-do list for quite a while, and I'm realizing why I didn't take this on earlier. Well, I didn't have the canopy for it. And so I ordered glass and decals, and then when I realized I didn't have the canopy, I ordered that, only to find out that I didn't need the canopy. You see, this is a 75 release of the Grasshopper. The original had 2 engines, the canopy, molded in tools on the side. This doesn't have any of that, and in fact, it even has a closed hood, which after they moved away from some of the stuff, they still had the open hood, and now that's gone too. So I don't even know why they continued to call this the Grasshopper, because it's hell and gone from what the original Grasshopper looked like. So I bought the canopies, and they don't even fit on this thing. So big waste of time. Wait, what can I say? I didn't know. Anyhow, so let's go ahead and get this thing restored. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this apart with all the standard processes, and then we're going to drill out and prep the posts and tap them so that they'll take a screw and we can put this thing back together. And, you know, all the usual rigmarole. Now, my initial plan here is to do just a straight-up restoration. But you know how fidgety I can get, and I think I'm going to have to make some changes here. I don't know. We'll see a little bit later on in the video. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but recently Jim Silva put out a great video on taking cars apart, because let's be honest, it's one of the catching spots where people struggle early on, and he really does a great job of talking about taking casting apart. And yes, he mentions Vix Bits and shielded drilling, and if you're not doing that, you're really missing one of the best ways to get your car apart and prep your posts. I highly recommend it, but give Jim's video a look-see. I'll put a link to the video in the description. And yes, we are still without worm liquid goo. All we have is this stupid citrus strip, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, so into the citrus strip it goes. And in about 7 hours, it will have sunk to the bottom. So we'll be back after it's done its job. I gotta tell you, the 75 lime green paint really hung in there, man. It did not want to give up the ghost. You see, there's still a lot of it left on the casting. Anyhow, doesn't really matter. If the citrus strip doesn't do the job, it will at least loosen it enough that the brass bristle brush can take it home. So I wasn't too worried about it. Take it out, wash it, and brush it down. Okay, so almost without exception, every casting that's going to get opaque paint gets primer from me. I'm going to be using the Magnifying primer. I can't rave about that stuff enough. We'll get that all on, and it'll give us a really beautiful base to put that lime green over the top of. And for the paint, we're using the Competition Green Opaque paint from the Redline Shop. And this mixes just like any of the clear coats. You put in your paint, you add some hardener, stir it up, and you spray it on with your airbrush. This stuff is fantastic. It dries glass smooth, and it's such a bright, vivid color. I got to tell you, honestly, this is my favorite color short of like a Hemi orange. And I wouldn't even say short of it. It's probably a neck-and-neck tie. You know, I really do love this color. I hope I haven't overused it, but, you know, hey, that's the only color the Grasshopper came in, so I have to paint it this color. So we've got it mixed up. We're going to load it into the brush, and then we'll put it down in the same manner that I always do. Tack coats, medium coats, and then some nice, good wet coats. So once the paint is dry on the casting, I can go ahead and put on the Grasshopper decals that I got from Second Chance Redlines. Now these are pretty big decals, and if there's even a little bit of an edge sticking off, it can be a problem. So make sure you use some solvent. I'm using my Walther Solvaset, and I'm just brushing it on the decals. This will make sure that the decals are going to lay flat, they're going to conform to the body, and that if there is a little bit of that decal material on an edge, it will fold over and disappear. So I'm going to put this on both decals on both sides and let it dry and make sure that the decals are nice and adhered to the casting and thoroughly dry before we go back to the paint booth for clear. Now, I've talked to you quite a bit about Diecast Graveyard's clear coat, and I am fully converted, okay? I would use Brightvision's clear in a second. I wouldn't even think about it. But I really do think that this stuff is better. It's cheaper. I have had no problems with pinholes over decals or anything like that. It really is working great for me. And so I've decided that this is my clear of choice going forward. Now, some of that's not fair, because while using the Diecast Graveyard clear coat, I measure the clear to hardener. I apply it using my new method for the clear when I'm going over decals. I've changed things up that I never used to do with the Brightvision clear. So maybe some or all of those things are contributing to the fact that I don't get pinholes over these decals, but the bottom line is this casting has really large decals and I'm not getting any issues. So I love it. This is my clear of choice, and you can't beat the price. So turning our attention to the base, it's just a plastic base with straight axles and ugly wheels. We're going to go ahead and cut those off with some cutters and just be left with the base and the axles. And then when that's all done, we can apply some hot swap hubs. I know I've told you this before, and I'm going to tell you again, and I'm probably going to tell you a million more times before all is said and done. These hot swap hubs are the greatest addition to our hobby to have come along in a very long time. These things are fantastic. They're going to allow me to put a lot of different wheel choices on this casting. So all I do is I pinch them with a pair of needle nose, and just at the halfway point, and I kind of just push them onto the axles until they click into place, and I'm ready to put any kind of hub style wheel on there that I'd like. Now, even though this is a restoration, I thought I'd kind of cheat a little bit. This is just how I roll. My mind is always moving, and what I thought is maybe I'd do something different in the wheels, because I'm always using the deep dish chrome wheels. So today I was torn between using some just plain old Redline wheels with the silver centers, not the deep dish, but the regular silver centered wheels, or using some of the new black walls that I got from Second Chance Redlines. And I originally thought I didn't want to switch this to a black wall casting because I thought that was a little sacrilegious. But for the life of me, for some reason, my silver wheels, I could not get them to go onto the hubs. And I didn't want to spend hours trying to modify that to make it work. So I popped on black walls, and I don't really regret it. Maybe we should have a category called Should Have Been a Black Wall. But anyhow, you'll see it at the end, and you can tell me what you think about it with black walls and whether I made a mistake or not. All right, it's time to slap this sucker together. I gotta be honest, the glass gave me fits. If it's not perfectly positioned, it is going to push the interior down and not allow the base to seat properly. So it was really fidgety. It was a nightmare. It took me a while. I finally found exactly how it was supposed to go, and it all came together. So now we can take a look and see what we have done. All right, there it is, my Hot Wheels Grasshopper black walls, new decals, brand new line paint. And I gotta tell you, it was fun except for the windshield. Getting that all to work correctly was a nightmare, but I think it came out great. What do you think? I love it. I hope you love it. If you did, please give this video a giant thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to hear from you guys. All right, that's going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope the rest of your day is just unbelievably glorious and wonderful. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.